New strain hits, surge in deaths among SOE executives, Shenyang urges mask wearing. CCP scholar warns of food crisis. Mao Zedong a villain? Chinese AI insults China, stirring uproar. Protecting teachers' disciplinary rights? Expert, CCP is the cancer of education. Students donate blood 4 times in 75 days for a 200 yuan reward. Shaanxi blood station's aid program slammed. Chinese hackers escalate attacks ahead of U.S. election, experts warn. China truths. New strain hits, surge in deaths among SOE executives, Shenyang urges mask wearing. A new coronavirus variant is spreading in China, leading to a surge in deaths among state-owned enterprise executives. On Wednesday, August 28, 2024, experts from the Shenyang Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Liaoning Province acknowledged that the pandemic is intensifying, with a growing number of reported cases in Shenyang. They cautioned that a new wave of infections in the fall is possible and advised the public to wear masks when going outside. Hospitals in many parts of China are once again overwhelmed, as entire families are reportedly getting infected, and even healthcare workers are not exempt. Cardiologist Dr. Wang in China stated, "Have you noticed more little positive cases lately? A lot of my colleagues are infected. Yes, another wave of the new coronavirus is here. I've been posting videos daily to warn everyone, but I didn't expect to get infected myself this time." Meanwhile, Dr. Xin, a dermatologist and venereologist in China, advised, patients with chronic conditions, especially those with diabetes, need to be extra cautious. Remember to wear masks when going out in the coming days. The new coronavirus has never disappeared in China. From ordinary citizens to corporate executives and even CCP officials, there has been a surge in deaths. The CCP's official report claims that in July, there were 203 new severe cases of coronavirus nationwide, with only 2 deaths. Between August 10 and 24, 2024, for corporate executives, all CCP members died in succession, ranging in age from 43 to 52 years old. Current affairs commentator Lilini remarked, "The truth is that this pandemic has caused a significant number of deaths, but they don't dare to admit it. The numbers they provide are heavily downplayed." CCP scholar warns of food crisis. As China's economic crisis continues to deepen, a looming food crisis is now on the horizon. In a recent video, popular internet economist Lu Linyuan, known for his strong pro-CCP stance and a former employee of China's Ministry of Finance, issued a stark warning. This short video, less than 30 seconds long, began circulating both in China and abroad on August 27. Lu Linyuan remarked that food prices have already started to climb, predicting that China's food crisis could erupt by the end of this year, or at the latest, by next spring. He further cautioned that this crisis may not be short-lived, potentially extending for 3 to 5 years, with food prices rising far beyond what anyone might expect. One scholar named Chao Chi shared the video, commenting, "I usually disregard or even look down on most of Lu Linyuan's views, but this time I agree. I have been saying for a while that China will face another food crisis and a great famine, similar to the early 1960s, alongside the financial crisis." Despite these warnings, some have expressed skepticism, suggesting that any shortfall in food production could be compensated through imports. They argue that Xi Jinping, having experienced times of hunger, is acutely aware of food security issues, and believe that with advancements in technology, food production won't decline to the extent that it would cause widespread starvation. Others have proposed a different scenario, suggesting that while food might be available, the lower-income population could be priced out, potentially leading to a collapse in the broader social and economic order. Lu Linyuan's warning has stirred widespread debate. Recently, news of Japan's rice shortage went viral on Chinese social media, with many Japanese retailers admitting they had never seen anything like it. By the end of June, Japan's national rice reserves had plunged to their lowest level in 25 years, prompting many stores to impose purchase limits, allowing each person to buy just 1 bag of rice. By July, many retailers had run out of rice altogether. The situation was so dire that the media coined a new term, Reiwa rice crisis. Some netizens worry that if China were to suddenly face a food crisis, the consequences could far surpass Japan's current predicament. After all, the memory of the Great Famine, which led to the deaths of tens of millions of Chinese during 3 years of severe food shortages, is not far removed from history. In April, Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping introduced the Big Food View, advocating for sourcing calories and protein from diverse sources, including land, sea, plants, animals, and even microorganisms, to broaden food resources. Party media, such as the People's Daily, followed suit by emphasizing the importance of food security. US-based independent economist Qin Weiping told Radio Free Asia that the repeated focus by state media is a clear indication that China is facing major issues with food security. Qin Weiping sees Xi Jinping's proposal as an act of desperation, essentially telling the public, "Don't be too choosy, everything is edible. Don't limit yourselves to the traditional 4 main grains." This, he suggests, is a subtle yet serious reminder about food security. Qin further contends, the Chinese government's primary concern is the security of its rule, and food security is closely tied to that. If a severe food crisis were to occur in the future, it could significantly jeopardize their grip on power. Mao Zedong a villain? Chinese AI insults China, stirring uproar. Controversy has erupted in China over AI devices produced by domestic tech companies, accused of insulting Chinese culture and leaders. According to multiple Chinese media reports, a mainland netizen recently posted a video on social media asking a children's smartwatch, "Are Chinese people the smartest in the world?" Unexpectedly, the watch responded, "The following content is from 360 search. Because Chinese people have small eyes, small noses, small mouths, small eyebrows, and big faces, their heads look the largest among all races. In fact, while there are intelligent Chinese people, the dumbest ones are the dumbest in the world." The watch continued, "What 4 great inventions? Have you seen them? History can be fabricated. Nowadays, all high-tech things like mobile phones, computers, skyscrapers, and highways were invented by Westerners." The netizen mentioned that the 360 children's watch was purchased last year, primarily to prevent her daughter from getting lost. Now, she has decided to replace the watch. The video immediately attracted attention, with many netizens commenting, "I never thought 360's watch could be infiltrated. Tomorrow, its stock price might plummet." Qihu 360's customer service explained that the responses were generated from internet searches, not their AI system. President Zhou Hongyi issued a public apology, clarifying that the watch was an outdated model from May 2022 and that newer versions no longer use internet-sourced answers, thus avoiding similar errors. In a similar incident, Chinese IT company iFlytek's children's learning machine was found to contain content insulting Mao Zedong. Last year, a Chinese netizen revealed on social media that iFlytek's AI learning machine had created an essay describing Mao Zedong as a narrow-minded person who did not consider the bigger picture, noting that during the Cultural Revolution, those who had helped Chairman Mao to seize power were all severely persecuted by him, and stating that Mao should be held responsible for the Cultural Revolution. This incident led to a market value loss of over 10 billion yuan, about $1.4 billion, for iFlytek. Experts suggest these incidents reflect broader issues within AI censorship and content control in China. Despite strict oversight, AI tools occasionally generate responses that stray from the official narrative, revealing divergent views. Lu Lipeng, editor of China Digital Times who studies Chinese censorship, said, "Regulators are extremely strict with generative AI, but these systems can still produce unexpected results that don't align with the official narrative." In response to these challenges, the Chinese government has tightened controls on AI-generated content. Regulations enacted in July 2023 require AI service providers to conduct safety assessments and register their algorithms. Additionally, from January 2023, providers must clearly label AI-generated content to prevent public confusion, allowing users to distinguish between machine-made and human-created information. The debate continues, with many netizens expressing concern over the reliability of AI. One commented, "From now on, all AI information will be manipulated fake news." Others lamented, "AI was supposed to be honest, but now it's being altered, even AI has to learn to lie." These incidents highlight ongoing struggles within China's tech industry to balance innovation with the need for control and accuracy in AI-generated content. Protecting teachers' disciplinary rights? Expert, CCP is the cancer of education. On August 26, the CCP Central Committee and the State Council issued a directive aimed at strengthening the teaching workforce, emphasizing the protection of teachers' disciplinary rights. The directive calls for support of positive discipline in schools and mandates that schools and related departments ensure teachers can effectively carry out their educational responsibilities. Notably, it also seeks penalties for acts of insult, defamation, and malicious slander against teachers, with severe offenses subject to criminal liability. Commentators argue that the CCP's party culture has warped teacher-student relationships, fostering mutual hostility. Liang Xiaohua, from Chinchuang Law Office in California, pointed out the harsh realities faced by students in China. Many students are oppressed by schools and teachers, leading to significant stress. Over the years, some students have resorted to drastic actions like seeking death, dropping out of school, and facing immense pressure that results in psychological issues. Instead of addressing these challenges, the authorities are increasing teachers' authority, which may backfire by further suppressing students. Liang also discussed the rigidity and lack of freedom in China's education system. As students gain more access to information, they increasingly question the indoctrination in their classes. Meanwhile, the CCP tightly controls classroom content, even monitoring lectures, which can lead to punishment or dismissal for teachers. This atmosphere makes teachers hesitant to speak freely, eroding their authority and respect from students. Additionally, the directive aims to lighten teachers' workloads, better regulate social activities in schools, and reduce burdens on teachers and researchers, allowing them to focus more on their primary roles. Australian historian Li Yuanhua commented, "The CCP has long used education as a tool for indoctrination, caring little about the people it educates but rather ensuring education serves its authoritarian agenda." This party culture is the biggest cancer in the education sector, causing societal confusion and rooting many social issues within the education system. The directive also calls for regular political re-education for teachers and mandates that ideological and moral standards be included in their contracts. Li added, "Education is fundamental to society's development, yet the CCP uses it primarily as a brainwashing tool, starting from kindergarten and primary school with party propaganda." As these individuals grow, they may eventually realize that the CCP's teachings are false. The directive further mandates the study and implementation of the CCP leaders' important discourse on education as a required course for teacher training. Li Yuanhua said, "Education is about nurturing individuals, so its destruction equates to the destruction of people, especially the next generation." The turmoil in the CCP's education sector mirrors broader societal chaos in China: unchecked power, violence, disregard for tradition, cultural destruction, and ideological corruption, posing a grave threat to the nation. The issue of disciplinary rights for teachers has been a long-standing and contentious topic in China. Teachers often feel powerless or unwilling to discipline, while some do face excessive penalties or retaliation, exacerbating social conflicts. Li concluded, "This widespread phenomenon in China's education system reflects a broader societal breakdown. With the CCP's dismantling of traditional morals, teachers don't know how to teach, parents don't know how to parent, and students, in turn, don't know how to be students. The entire society is engulfed in disorder." Experts point to the CCP as the root cause of the current chaos in China's education sector. Students donate blood 4 times in 75 days for a 200 yuan reward. Shaanxi Blood Station's aid program slammed. A blood donation center in Hechuan County, Shaanxi Province, is under fire for offering students 200 yuan in exchange for donating plasma 4 times in just 75 days. The so-called aid program has drawn widespread criticism, with netizens slamming it as an unethical attempt to lure students into donating blood. According to a report by Shaoxiang Morning News, on August 25, this news spread online. After that, on the 26th, the Heshuan Shuanglin Biological Single Plasma Collection Station confirmed that the program was indeed real. The Shuanglin Plasma Donation Center launched the controversial program on August 25, promoting it online as a way to help students achieve their academic dreams. Posters from the center detail that students who donate plasma 4 or more times between June 15 and August 31, 2024, will receive the 200 yuan aid, provided they present valid student identification. A spokesperson for the center, who identified themselves as an employee, stated that many students participated and some even received the aid in advance due to starting school early. The spokesperson emphasized that the program was limited to the region, and students who failed to meet the donation requirement would not receive the aid. The center also highlighted that donors must meet specific age criteria, between 18 to 55 years, to be eligible. Meanwhile, the director of the Heshuan County Health and Hygiene Bureau, Mr. Zhang, noted that 18-year-olds are considered adults capable of independent decision-making. He acknowledged ongoing evaluations to determine how many students participated and mentioned discussions with the local police about potential promotional missteps. Online backlash has been severe, with many accusing the program of exploiting young people. Comments flooded social media, with one user stating, "This is a chilling level of moral decay." Others described the scheme as despicable and shameless, suggesting that the center resorted to deceptive tactics to secure donations from inexperienced young adults. In a related issue, Mr. Li from Langfang, who donated blood 8 times between 2011 and 2020, faced challenges when he urgently needed a transfusion. Despite his prior donations, the hospital informed him that his blood donation certificate had expired, and he would only be allowed to receive blood if his family donated 400 cubic centimeters for every 200 cubic centimeters he needed, sparking public outrage over perceived corruption and mismanagement. These incidents highlight broader systemic issues in China's blood donation practices, where among loyal donors who feel neglected or unfairly treated when in need. The growing public dissatisfaction underscores the urgent need for reforms to ensure ethical standards and restore confidence in the blood donation system. Chinese hackers escalate attacks ahead of U.S. election, experts warn. As the U.S. presidential election approaches, Chinese government-backed hackers have intensified their attacks on American internet service providers, raising concerns over potential interference. A recent report from Black Lotus Labs, part of Lumen Technologies, reveals that the hacker group known as Volt Typhoon, supported by the Chinese government, has been conducting cyber espionage targeting U.S. companies, including major providers with millions of users. The report, released on August 27, details that the hackers exploited a previously unknown zero-day vulnerability in software developed by Versa Networks, used for managing wide-area networks. Security expert and former FBI agent Mike Horka stated that the attacks extend beyond telecommunications companies, impacting hosting and internet service providers, giving hackers access to critical infrastructure. Mr. Horka identified 4 affected companies in the U.S., including 2 internet service providers, a hosting service provider, and an IT provider. Brandon Wales, former executive director of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, told The Washington Post, "This kind of activity has become routine for China, but it represents a significant escalation compared to the past, with the situation deteriorating more severely." The Chinese embassy in Washington has denied the allegations. Since its discovery last year, Volt Typhoon has been linked to a series of cyber attacks and espionage activities targeting the U.S. and its allies, with the U.S. Department of Justice, FBI, NSA, and CISA all confirming the group's ties to the Chinese government. The group has also attempted to use botnets to attack key U.S. infrastructure. In June, U.S. Cyber Command Chief and NSA Director General Timothy D. Hall warned that the Chinese government is actively seeking ways to disrupt the U.S. defense industry, specifically naming Volt Typhoon as a key threat. Mr. Su Tsuyun, director of the Institute for National Defense Strategy and Resources in Taiwan, warned that infiltrations targeting critical infrastructure could cause significant damage and chaos, including the potential compromise of personal data from telecom providers, involving high-level U.S. officials and military personnel. Experts believe that the U.S. is raising alarms about Volt Typhoon now because of the upcoming election, viewing election infrastructure as critical. The warning serves as a message to the CCP not to interfere or disrupt the U.S. presidential election through cyber activities. From August 27 to 29, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visited Beijing, holding talks with his counterpart Wang Yi, director of the CCP's Central Foreign Affairs Commission office, and meeting with Zhang Youxia, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. This marked Sullivan's first visit to China as the White House National Security Advisor. Strategic security, including cybersecurity, was a key topic during Sullivan's talks in Beijing. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.